Now, telling a better story is something that I'm always continuously trying to work on. I think that's definitely one of the biggest areas that I need to improve. And of course, one of the biggest things that I'll normally use is something like aerial footage in a lot of my videos. Now, while drone footage is something I'll add in my videos, audio is just as important, if not more important, to add to your story in order for you to create that mood, to create that ambiance that you're gonna want your user to experience. And with that said, I do wanna thank our sponsor of the video, Epidemic Sound. If you guys know Epidemic, I've talked about them in a lot of my videos in the past. Of course, it's where I get all of my royalty-free music and sound effects that I use in my videos. And while recently talking to Epidemic Sound about this video right here, about how I download and use stems in my video, they're actually providing me some giveaways for you guys, actually a few different giveaways, a year subscription to Epidemic Sound, and a couple people will win a 6-month subscription to Epidemic Sound for you to download all of their music and sound effects to use in your videos. So make sure you stay tuned to the video just to learn a little bit more about how you can win those subscriptions. So in this quick video, I just want to show you my process of using stems. And if you guys haven't used stems in your videos before, this definitely changed the way I would approach using music in my videos, mainly because you have a ton of flexibility with it when you download stems. And for those that aren't used to understand stems, it's actually pretty straightforward. I'll show you here on my intro I did for the DJI Mavic 3. Stems really is a way for you to separate all of the layers of your music tracks. It separates out the bass and the instruments, so that way you can actually isolate each one of them. Each one of them can provide a different mood in your video. And also, if you just wanted some background music on some, some talking heads, some A-roll stuff, you can actually just pull out a couple of layers and you don't have to use the entire track. So let's jump over to Epidemic Sound. I'll show you what I kind of look for when I'm downloading some of the music from here, as well as what you need to do to download the stems. And also I'll show you how I use it back in my timeline. All right, so here we are on the Epidemic Sound homepage. And of course, one of the main reasons why you want to use something like Epidemic Sound is because you want to use royalty-free music in your videos, because you don't want to deal with copyright claims. You don't want to deal with anything like that that would limit you being able to monetize your videos on YouTube or some of the other social media platforms. So when I was doing a lot of my research, I've actually used this artist before, and what I wanted to do is kind of go back into their library, because a lot of times when you use one artist, they recommend, or Epidemic Sound actually recommends you very similar artists. So whenever you're looking for music, definitely go through their library. They have all the different sound effects and genres and types of vocals or duration you might want to look for. Mine, when I went through this one, I was doing a lot of other research and I came across this song right here, Dreaming. And if you click on this music right here, you can actually see the waveforms. Now, like I mentioned, I was looking for something that kind of started off slow and then went for a big hit. That was more of my intro that I wanted to do. So when I saw these waveforms, I wanted to kind of jump straight to it to see how it sounds. So you can kind of start it, see how this buildup is here. It has a nice slow 8 count, and I can see this back one here. This one has a little bit slower buildup, as you can see with the waveforms here. And this was something that I ended up using in my video, and I'll show you exactly how. Okay. When you hit download, a little pop-up will come up and it says, do you want to download the full mix? Now the full mix is basically everything compiled into one track. So if you just wanted the full audio, you can download that. But what I want to recommend doing is downloading stems. So hit download all stems. You'll have a folder on your desktop. And as you can see here, you have everything separated. What we want to do now is bring that into our timeline. I'm using Final Cut Pro, so let's open up Final Cut. All right, so we're in Final Cut Pro, and this is actually a pretty light timeline. I know you can go super deep and have just a ton of layers of sound design. I honestly try to keep it as light as possible just to start, just to get that first cut out. And then depending on how much time I have and how much more is needed in the story, I'll then come back around and add a little bit more sound design. Now, if you're not used to editing some of the audio in your videos, this might look a little bit more robust to you. But if you were to think about it this way, if I were to turn these off right here, so these are the 4 tracks that we just talked about. We have the bass, we have the drums, we have the instruments, and the melody. So 4 separate tracks breaking apart that audio. But at the very bottom here, I do have that master audio, which is all combined into one. The one thing, as you can see here, that's kind of difficult sometimes is if you can't really just hear the music and try to mark those high points or those bass points, The thing is, if you just look at waveforms, sometimes you can't really see them. Now it's easier, of course, to see and hear them. Sometimes you can just hear them, but a lot of times you want to visually see it so that you can mark those specific points on your timeline with some of your markers. Now what's great about this is that I can actually see the waveforms now of each one of those layers. I can see the bass, where the bass kicks in. I can see where the drums kick in, the instruments. Now if I were to turn on or just keep the bass and I'll turn all the other ones off, this is what it sounds like, just bass. Okay, now if I add in the drums, as you can see now, that music is starting to build up. Now let me turn on the instruments, or actually let me just hear just the instruments by itself. That on. Now if we add in the instruments, plus the drums, plus the bass, this is what we get right here. And add in the melody on the bottom of that one. Now the melody is pretty light, so you're not going to hear it too much. And there it is. So you have all four of those working together. And of course, like I said, you can start taking pieces out depending on the mood and what you wanted to convey. Now, that's the thing I like about it, is that one, you get a little bit easier waveforms to follow. As you can see, when I make these marker points, or these mark points, I can actually see where the bass is kicking in, where the drums are kicking in. If I were to look at the master compilation here at the very bottom, it's hard to see those right there in that waveform. But here, when you break it down, it's easier for you to mark those specific points. That way you can edit to those specific points when you're making your video. Now, when I went to this audio portion, or went to this part of the timeline, if I leave it on, I'll show you how this sounds. Okay, now that was the full audio track. Now, for this one, I wanted to pull out the drums, and when I did that, it just had another feeling to the edit. Now watch if I pull this one out. Now without the drums. So it has just a little bit airier of a feel, and with that I match it up with the footage, and I did the same thing over here on this one right here. This is what it sounds like with it, with the drums. Okay, now if I pull the drums out on that specific section. And like I said, I like to keep things pretty light, pretty simple. I could definitely go back in here and just continuously keep tweaking it, keep editing it, but that can go on forever. I like to keep my cuts pretty simple. And then like I mentioned earlier too, is that when I do have some time and I do want to come back in and add a little bit more sound design, here at the very end, what I did was I dropped out some of the audio towards the end of the intro. Very similar to what I was doing with dropping out the drums. So I was pulling out some of the drums, some of the instruments out early. And let me show you what I did here. If I turned off these other sound design pieces. Now this is what it sounds like when it ends. Now normally I could have ended it right there, but at the same time I'm like, hey, this little ending piece here needs a little bit more. So what I did is I went to Epidemic Sound, went to their sound effects library, added in some seagulls, because of course I'm at the beach, and also some ocean beach noise. So now it sounds like this once you add in a little bit more music on top. And there it is. So let's play that from beginning to end and let me know what you guys think. Once again, huge thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video and actually just showing you guys the process of normally what I would take to make some of these intros. And Epidemic Sound was nice enough to give my audience a few free subscriptions, one for a year, and 2 winners will win 6 months. And on top of that, I'm actually gonna be throwing in a couple cases for the winners as well. Now this giveaway will be a little bit more work, of course, but if you are interested in winning a year-long subscription to Epidemic Sound as well as the case, basically all you need to do is submit to me or email me a 1-minute video utilizing stems and showing me the video that you come up with. So if you do want to win the subscription as well as the cases, I'm gonna have this going on for about 2 weeks. Just to give you guys some time to put something pretty basic together. What I'm gonna need you to do is actually submit a video to me. That email will be down below in the video description. I'm not gonna just do a comment winner this time because as you guys know on YouTube, the comment section, the WhatsApp, junk, all of the spammers are going crazy on there. So do not use the comment section as far as where I'm going to be posting the winners. If you guys do want to join this competition, along with your 1-minute video using stems, make sure you guys take a screenshot of your video timeline so I can see exactly that you use or what you use in stems as well as the audio tracks that you use from Epidemic Sound. Now, if you don't have Epidemic Sound to use in your video, not a problem. Use the link down below. You will get 30 days free trial of Epidemic Sound. That way you can go through their entire library, their sound effects, download some audio, use it in your video. And as far as video requirements go, like I mentioned, I don't really care what the subject matter is. It can be about anything, but I just want you to utilize the stems in the Epidemic Sound library. I want to be able to see what you did. So just basically make a 1-minute video, but also send me a screenshot of what your timeline looks like and also the name of the song and the artist. Pretty basic, but of course I'll leave all the steps down below in the video description just in case you wanted to go through it again, but it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Hopefully it's got some value from this video, and if you did, a big like would be much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos. Make sure you guys get your submissions in. This is Ultra Nastasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.